Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for Twenties. I did the recap reviews on this show last season. I enjoyed every second of it. And I'm not sure if anybody else was doing the recap reviews on this show, but I was interested in the show, and so I was here for it. So it was what it was going to be for me. I wanted to discuss it, which is why I do the recap reviews that I do on any of the shows that I do them on. So anyway, just in case some of y'all are in the dark as to what this show is about because you haven't seen it before, or you may have forgotten, this show is about three young ladies who are best friends that live in California, and they're trying to live out their dreams. The main character's name is Harriet. Harriet is someone who likes women. I'm not going to give her a label because I don't remember if last season she said whether or not she considered herself to be a stud or lesbian or whatever, but she is obviously someone who likes women. But she is out here and struggling to make it. She's trying to get her scripts out there for people to notice her because she's an amazing writer, but she usually lacks a lot of focus and motivation and all of that. Even though she's very motivational to everybody else, it's just that she tends to joke around more than be serious. But she has started to learn that she needs to cut down on that. One of the other friends' names is Marie. Marie is the friend who is she is engaged to be married to a guy named Chuck. She is an television executive, but she's having a hard time getting everyone over there to get on board with her as far as Black entertainment is concerned. They literally run with other things, and whenever something does go in the direction that she wants it to go into, other people, mainly men, whether they are Black or not, are the ones who get that recognition, even if she's the one who put in all the legwork for it, because they really did try her last season. If you ain't see that, go back and see it. And the last friend, her name is Nia. Nia is a yoga teacher. She is very much natural, zen, about, her peace and the vibes and all that good stuff. She's that grand rising friend and all that other stuff. She's pretty much the peacemaker and the middleman when it comes to the friendships. So yeah, I'm here for her. I like the person who is interested in her on this show, but his personal life is messy. And that is Big Sean. Big Sean is fine. Unless I'm getting the shows mixed up, that's the dude who is interested in her on this show. But he fine in real life. I don't know if anybody is still dragging him for what happened before with him and y'all know what's her name? Wasn't it something Aiko? Whatever her name is, something. Y'all know the girl who says and talk about you eat the booty like groceries. What? However you say her name, like I never knew how to pronounce her name, but I heard that she was in a relationship and then she ended up leaving the relationship she was in with a whole other person. Basically, they were cheating on the people that they were with to be with one another. And they make amazing music together. Like, I have several songs of theirs where it's like, oh, that's a whole vibe. But I digress. So let's go ahead and get into this episode. So it pretty much left where it left off where it was at last time, which was they were at this industry or party or whatever. They were somewhere. They were at an event. And Harriet took the woman who was over the show that she was working for. The television series was called Cocoa Butter, I think. And in all actuality, it's kind of trash. But a lot of people live for it. And so she's like, well, it is what it is. And a lot of it does reflect this woman's life and the things she's been through. But it's pretty trash. And Ida gets praised for this show. And she has gotten rich off of this show. I really feel like this was like she's supposed to be kind of like the female version of Tyler Perry to me. I don't know. I really feel like that's what's happening here. But anyway, she left the party with Harriet, who I already told y'all she likes women. She is significantly younger than her. And all last season, this woman was making it known that she lived for her. Other people have been able to tell that she's a man eater, but she's not out with her, secret, if you will. Because it's like, I'm not sure if this woman is just into the moments that are happening or actually into women. But she has had moments with other lesbians before, other women that like women before, and they ended up like in a whole terrible state of mind in Samoa by the time that she was done with them. Like, it was bad. She has fired her. She has been fired because she did violate her privacy one day last season. If you haven't seen it, go on back and go see that. But anyway, so they in the bed. Keep in mind, Hattie does not have her own place. She's trying to get her life together. Hopefully these scripts and stuff will pop off so she can be able to at least get her own place, to get her a car, another vehicle, or whatever. Like, what she need to get, the things she needs for natural, normal survival at this point, because she keeps going from house to house like a homosexual. Like, that's pretty much what she is classified as, a female version of a homosexual. Usually we mainly classify men as this, especially in times like this. Like, people love trying to say, oh, it's fat girl season now, it's thick woman season now, because they think all of us fat women are just so desperate to get a man that when men come saying anything to us as it's getting cold outside, we're desperate enough to be like, you know what? All right, as long as they're screwing us, it's okay that you're in my place and keeping warm and running up my bills. That's fine. I'm not one of those, so that doesn't apply to me, but go off though. So anyway, she is in her friend's house. Now keep in mind, she's pretty much on the couch. Well, this night, since her friend Marie and her fiance Chuck are out and about somewhere, she done took her to their bedroom. She's basically passing it off as her place. And so she's looking at the woman. She done, she over here saying all kinds of affirmations to the woman to tell her how beautiful she is. And has she ever thought about them getting married? And do you think TD Jakes would, marry us? And so she's looking at her like, you're crazy. Like, y'all just hooked up. Like, what is we talking about? Y'all have been screwing. That's all that's been going on. Y'all aren't even dating. What are we talking about? So she done got sick and tired of her. She was like, you know what? I ain't got time for this. She was like, you know what? It's so Hattie, even though she is infatuated with this woman, even though this woman really has been baiting her this entire time, she has been letting her know that she lives for her and doing the most. And it's like, girl, what are we not finna do with this? Now, in this moment, she like, I gotta go. I ain't got time for this. And so she's like, well, that's okay. You needed to leave anyway, because the people who actually own this house should be back any moment now. And then we start hearing a car horn. It's Chuck honking for her to come and help him get his fiance out the car because she toe down drunk. And I'm just like, it's the middle of the night. Why the neighbors? Is this something that the neighbors are used to? Why? So anyway, she done told her, well, I advise you, if you want to keep your dignity and everything else intact, that you go out the back door. And she opened the door for her. She looking at her like, half a no, you did. So then she is produced. She produces herself, if you will. And she, makes herself known. And she come out there and she's trying to help her get in the house. And then he was like, help me get her to the bed. So she was like, oh, no. I don't know if she need to go in the bedroom. He was like, what are you talking about? Anyway, we going to the bed. She getting nauseous and sick, about to start throwing up. So she was like, well, give me a few minutes to get, the bedroom right. He was like, I'll give you 10 seconds. So he started counting down. She going there. She straightened up to the best of her ability. It looks decent enough to pass in this moment. So they get in there and they make it seem like, oh, you're just so nice. Are you just trying to get it romantic for us? Oh, because they're newlyweds. So a lot of newlyweds that aren't like, oh, I'm only going to wait until we get married for us to have sex. They are screwing each other's brains out. And that's what they've been doing. So yeah, again, if you haven't seen this series, if you haven't seen the first season of it, you need to go back and watch it. Go ahead and go back and watch it. It ain't but 30 minutes each episode. So yeah. But anyway, soon as she left out the room thinking that she was safe, Chuck pulled back the cover and we see Ida, who is the woman who is over that whole situation that Hattie was a part of, the woman who was like the female version of Tyler Perry, if you will, sees her red thong in the bed. And so Marie is sober enough to understand that this situation got to stop. And so he was like, yeah, okay, so is this the last straw? She was like, yeah, this is the last straw. So she got kicked out in the middle of the night. So then she ended up going over to Nia's house, who was the yoga instructor, and asked her if she could stay. She got her raggedy bags and left. Trash bags, that is. So she over there at her house, and now she got to try to go to sleep. And so before they go to sleep, she's trying to figure out, what she gonna do. And she ended up spilling the beans about her sleeping with Ida. So she like, wait a minute, heifer. How you gonna come up off this information and think that this is all it's gonna be? Like, no, you gotta spill the tea. This is my boss. Because she actually was just allowed to be a part of a production that she's putting on. She is playing a character on an upcoming role on the show. So this is an amazing opportunity for her. She's always wanted to do that. She's just been, in the background for a while, but now she's actually about to be up front. And the big co-stars, like the big stars that are putting on this performance for Ida, she has a lot of impressing to do. So of course she's trying to figure out what's all the tea. She was like, look, she don't want all that out there. It is what it is. And so she was like, okay, so do you want me to like comfort you, or do you want advice? And so she was like, I mean, right now I just want to be comforted. So she hugging her. Then she gonna sit up there and ask if she got some weed. Like, she doing the most. You want a lot, ma'am. Like, she wants like some luxurious weed. And she was like, all I can offer you is some CBD. And she gonna try to read the CBD. And it's like, ma'am, you ain't got a pot to piss in. I don't be understanding people who be wanting the most and ain't got nothing to contribute. Like, stop. So it's morning and she slept the night away. And so she woke up to Nia doing what she normally does, which is these affirmations, and she's doing yoga and she humming. And so she's trying to understand why she up so early with all of this noise. And so she was like, this is a part of life. This is what we should be doing. And, nobody should have to be able to tell a black woman. Nobody should be able to tell a black woman what to do and what to do. And she was like, you know what? I heard that. And I accept that. It is what it is. So they talking. And she just trying to live her life. And I'm just like, girl, get up and go to work. And so she was like, you know what? Before you go in, because this is actually going to be Nia's first day with everybody doing the table reads and all this other stuff. And so she was like, okay, let me pray with you. Is it okay if I pray for you, boy? So she prayed. I was like, that's one thing about Hattie, man. Hattie, I like Hattie. She set it off on that prayer, y'all. She set it all the way off on that prayer. And I always love most, if not all, the shirts that she's wearing. On this episode right now, she's wearing a Nina Simone pullover. I was like, what is it called? Not this, but it was a pullover. That's what she had on. So I was like, okay then. Like, usually it is black, something black going on with it. And I'd be here for it. So yeah. So then we see Nia going off into the world. She's on one of the lots that she's supposed to be in. And she has her mind, her imagination is running wild. She's very excited about it. She has made everything turn black and white. She's going up to everybody saying, hi, my name is Nia. And they're looking at her like, girl, we don't care. And then one of the last people she got to was like, okay, you're early. And so she was like, I'm Jamaican. So she's walking through and living for every moment of it. So then she gets to the back of the lot. And then whatever lot she's on, you can clearly see the Hollywood sign. So I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. I know I would be here for that. So it is what it is. So I'm like, okay. So then they show Marie. Marie, the morning after her being at work, she's at her desk. She has a pack of crackers and I'm guessing some tea, or, if it's not ginger tea, it's some kind of tea, or she might actually have some ginger ale or something up and through the cup she's drinking, trying to get her life together because she's so nauseous from all the drinking she's done. So the black dude, I think it's a black gay guy, or he's just very, very like rambunctious, so to speak. I don't forgot what his preference. I think he's gay. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But anyway, he was on that last season and they, tried her in so many ways. But he comes and he talks to her and it's pretty much like, if you win, I win. But at the same time, I'm not here for that in this instance because they tried her last season. She was the one bringing so much stuff to the table, and they overlooked her for all of the men in the room. And it's like, we still doing this in 2021. Oh, okay then. So anyway, she's throwing ideas out at him, and he ain't here for it until he hears one in particular. And he thought that it was about black people at first. He was like, nah. He got excited when he thought it was, well, he was like, don't nobody care about that. But as soon as he found out that it was about white people, he got excited. And it was just like, I told y'all before, she has this thing about how things that she wants to pitch that are about black people's struggles and all this, whatever it is she want to pitch, it is about black people, they don't want to see it. And it's like the only time that people want to see certain things is the realm that we're already in, which is they like to see us. He was like, well, don't nobody care, like if it's a bubble bath scene or something like that. And so she said something about porn, and he was like, that's, pretty much the stereotypical thing that you would see anyway with black people. Like, it's like no getting around it. So it's like, it seems like it's really hard to get certain things like that as it pertains to black people off the ground for them to want to be interested in it. And I was just like, child, I get it, but I ain't here for it. So old boy went on about his business because he wants her to bring something else to the table. Especially if you wanted to have black faces in it, a whole lot of black faces in it, it's going to have to do something else outside of what she's been trying to tell him about. So now we're at the table read. And there's this woman who, when I first saw her, or at least remember seeing her, she was on Tyler Perry's For Better or For Worse, playing the ex-wife / baby mama of Marcus. And lately, I have actually been seeing her a whole lot because I hadn't been seeing her for some years since this show went off the air. And now all of a sudden, I've been seeing her in all sorts of shows. And I'm like, okay, get the check. I'm here for it. But anyway, she's like the one who is the star of this Cocoa Butter television series. And so she's supposed to be going back and forth with Nia in this role that she's playing on this show. She's supposed to be playing like this overly ghetto hairstylist or whatever. And so she's now in the role, but it's just like, it is sad and depressing to watch. Even Ida said something about it. Like Ida's eyes were open to it. And it's like she knew, but it's like, this is what sells. This is what all these black people want to see. Then I guess I'm going to keep throwing it out there and getting rich off these people. But okay, yeah. So she was talking to her after it was over with. And she was like, she seems to like you. And this is Ida telling Nia this about the person who was over the show, like who was starring in the show. And so she was like, and she's a pretty hard person to please. And so she was like, oh, okay then. Child, why is she gonna slip in there talking about, oh, well, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing for your night routine, but it is amazing. Girl, talking about she glowing. Come on now. Now, you know good and well, she know that y'all cool with one another. And you just sat up there and told her that y'all screwed. Like, don't do that. And now you want to sit up here and send text messages to the heifer talking about good morning, how you doing, and all this other stuff. And like, she sent a really nice message, but she said your instead of your. She put Y-O-U-R, if I'm not mistaken, instead of you are. And so she read her and was like, no, it's your. Like, I forgot which one it was, but it was the your that she wasn't supposed to use in that context or whatever. And so even though you could tell she kind of was about to smile, but it's like, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I get real turned off when people send me stuff. And it's like your, it is a completely different your. They say two, it is like not the one. It's supposed to be the one with the two O's. And I'm just like, and there, y'all, yeah, I can't. So anyway, Hattie popped up on Marie and brought her a bottle of wine that was of the year 2020. And so she was like, oh, that was a very interesting year. And so she was like, I just figured I'd come and apologize, whatever. And so she was like, thank you for this cheap wine. She was like, no, I just figured that you and Chuck could open this 20 years from now. And it's cheap now, but it's going to be expensive later. You got to think about that. You got to think about that. I was like, Hattie just be trying to get over. But anyway, so they're talking, and Marie was like, if you want to come back, you can. She was like, no, I think I'm just going to stay at Nia's and until I can afford to get my own place. And so she's like, okay. She was like, finally, pretty much respecting the fact that they should be able to have their time together. Because I know I would be very upset if I was with somebody and I can't even have my me time with the person that I have to spend the rest of my life. I'm supposed to be spending the rest of my life with, because they friend over there living with us all the time. We can't even run around the house butt naked and have sex everywhere. Like, what is we doing? I don't like that. I don't like that. We need to be able to do what we want to do as grown folks. What's going on here? Like, I am not here for it. And my thing is, of course, it would have to be certain types of situations for me to be like, okay, I get it. But no. She just never has her life together, and so she just goes from house to house. Anyway, I'm rooting for her. Hopefully she get her life together, but no. So anyway, it's nighttime now, and then we see Nia at the house going over her lines, and then Hattie comes into the house bringing groceries, which are snacks really, because she has all healthy stuff. If she's going to have a snack, it's going to be some seaweed or something like that. That's what she got. And so she dumping everything out all loud. She had to tell her that she needs to, be quiet and respect that because she's trying to learn her lines. It's just a lot. Like, she doing too much in this moment. So they end up talking, and she was trying to tell her that, yeah, I really like her, and all this stuff was going on, and, the situation was decent, and, she didn't know the extent of how much Hattie was doing until she told her. But yeah, she was doing the most. And so she was like, look, it is what it is. So anyway, Marie is about to go into the house. And the house, all the lights are off. Chuck is set up here and made this nice romantic dinner and got everything candle lit and all this other good stuff. And so she was like, oh, you must be enjoying the fact that we don't have to share the house with anyone. And so he was like, yes, I've been waiting for this for so long. I'm like, this is so sad. But it is what it is. Then we see Hattie in the parking lot waiting on Ida to come out because she's been trying to talk to her all day. She ain't said nothing to her outside of texting her saying that it's your instead of the your that she used in the sentence. She read her about that, and she said it's not attractive for her to do all this other stuff. And so they had a back and forth, so to speak. And pretty much she was just like, she read her and told her, you ain't had no business telling your friend about my life and what I got going on. Obviously, she knew my tea. She knew what I had going on. Like, don't be telling nobody my business. And so she was just saying to her that, it is what it is. And I can't help the way that I was feeling about you. And so she was just like, you need to spend your focus on other stuff. And maybe you'll be able to be where you need to be. And you sat up here and brought me into somebody else's house. Like, your priorities are in the wrong place. So she read her. They basically read each other, and pretty much they gonna keep on doing what they doing on the low as long as Ida wants to allow it, until she's ready to dispose of her. And she was just like, I can't help the way I feel about you. Like, ma'am, I understand that you're eager like that, but I'm gonna need for you to calm down. But they're over here getting swept up in one another. And so she was like, oh, she tried, and then Ida tried to swoop in to get a kiss. She was like, oh, don't you have a brand to protect? I'm like, ma'am, now you know. So they doing what they doing. But anyway, hopefully y'all enjoy the recap of this episode of Twenties. I really, really like this show. I think it's going to be a lot of stuff going on this season. Anyway, y'all have a good one. When I come back, I'm going to look slightly different because I'm going to go and wash my hair, shower, change my clothes, all that good stuff. So yeah, I'm going to look a little different because I'm going to come back with the good old married man side heifer saga. I know y'all been waiting for it, but I'm going to be back with it.